running never did much good. Hiding doesn't last forever. You can't run faster when it's you you're running from. So you throw your hands up like doves to the setting sun. Somewhere down the stars are falling like jewels upon a thin black veil. You'll find the mysteries enthralling. 5 seconds seems like 5 billion years. 10,000 galaxies away, yet still so near.
Welcome to Karen Holton's podcast. Karen permanently lost 178 pounds and found happiness and success by following her own advice. She has now developed that advice into the quantum health transformation. Heal, evolve, and thrive. Karen's website offers a free webinar workshop series, and you'll also find tools, methods, and practices to assist you to become the change you want to see in the world. She believes that we are all connected. Heal the planet by healing yourself. Connect with Karen at her website, KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com, and through Facebook at Facebook.com/Quantum Health Transformation. Now for the podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to Quantum Health Transformation version 3.0. Today is Step 4 Blue. Understand the power of heuristics. Know your truth and speak your truth. Video workshop. Step 4 is designed for those who wish to raise their awareness, improve their learning outcomes, and provides an energetic layer of detoxification through an exploration of our learning influences and perceptions. Learn how changes to external and internal dialogue creates a shift in perception, which assists you to speak your truth with amazing outcomes. Be sure to also check out the corresponding video tutorial. My students today are Don Rogers, Canadian Spinja, and Ray. Be sure to check out their channels. Their links are below in the description. And to find out more about my work, all of the links are featured below, also in the description. Subscribe to my channels, leave me some comments, smash that like button, and share this video with your friends. Hi, everybody. How you guys doing today?
Great, thank you.
Good.
Good. So this is the third part to the detoxification. So just for the listeners and the viewers, the first 3 steps were how to open your mind. And we start with step 9 and we work our way down to step 1. So we covered understanding our basically light shadow work and understanding the greater perceptual reality. Also how to soothe and comfort the body and take care of the body temple. And also male-female integration. Then we went into the middle 3 lessons, which were all about detoxification. So step 6 was all about external, internal, and emotional detoxification. Step 5 was all about food. And now we're on step 4, where this is really an energetic detoxification. We need to detoxify from the programming of the construct that we've been born into. So before we get started, do you folks have anything you want to share or any questions or anything?
Well, I know that we talked a little bit just before the show about how this program, like this course, is impacting Ray. I just want to throw it out there again. Like he's listening and he's making changes, like in how he makes decisions in his own life. And it's also, I feel like it's made our relationship a little bit stronger, because like he's always known that Mom's had his back, but I think he's also seeing how I've been trying to make the changes that I could, that, that I had the power and the resources to. I think he's understanding, like when we did have cookies in the house or candy or whatever, I would only let him have small portions of it. And I think he's understanding why now. And it's filling the gaps, and I'm very grateful. Like, thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I'm so happy to be able to share this information. The other thing we talked a little bit about before we started recording the show was what to do with failure or when we relapse. And I don't actually use those words. I call it doing further research. So say, for instance, we're doing really well on detoxifying and we're really happy with our progress. Then all of a sudden we end up doing or eating something that we kind of are trying to break that habit. I call it doing further research, because then you have the natural consequences of your actions that reinforce. And that's a bit what we're going to get into today. So without further ado, I'm going to go to the screen share. There we are. And for those of you listening on audio, you may want to come over and watch the video so that you can make best use of all the images. And we're starting with an image of the entire program. So as you can see, we start with step 9, then we did 8, 7, then we did 6, 5, and now 4. Excuse me. And you can see how it fits in with the entire program. And I would say that step 6 and step 5 are the most difficult. Now we're going to get into the really interesting sort of the woo-woo aspects. But pretty much you have to do the base work. Steps 9, 8, and 7 will open your mind and prepare you for accepting information. And then the detoxification is absolutely essential to free up our energy, raise our frequency, and start to detoxify our pineal gland so that we can take in the healthful teachings. So this is Quantum Health Transformation. It's a new health paradigm. It was written by myself, Karen Holton. And this is version 3.0, Advanced Training for Healers and Alternative Health Practitioners. Step 4, Blue, Understand the Power of Heuristics, Know Your Truth, and Speak Your Truth. Sorry, I'm just getting some, of course, now that I'm on here recording the show, I'm getting all these notifications of programs that want to update, and I have to ignore them until after. So welcome, everybody. This PDF primer is meant to accompany the corresponding live recorded video tutorial. This is the workshop. And Quantum Health Transformation, like I said, this is version 3.0. There was the original version and then the 2.0, and now this is the 3.0. So I hope everybody enjoys it, and I sure enjoyed making it for everybody. So both primer and the live Quantum Health Transformation workshops are presented in descending number order when published to YouTube and my website. Start with step 9 and work your way down to do step 1 last. And just as a reminder, all information presented in any Quantum Health Transformation media was received in a download and was channeled from the Living Library, which is also known as the Akashic Records. Further, this material was downstepped and developed through the filter of my own personal life experience. I'm not an expert, a mathematician, or a scientist. I'm a seeker of knowledge and wisdom. The Quantum Health Transformation Program is ideal for those who are awakening and for those who are experiencing ascension symptoms, but the content is beneficial for everyone who wishes to experience a better quality of life. This system of quantum health transformation works well for me. However, you must synthesize this information and take only that which serves you. And at the very least, it is my hope that from this material, you will be stimulated to seek your own inner wisdom. Please note that any part of the Quantum Health Transformation original, version 2.0 or version 3.0 series can be copied and shared for free under the Fair Use Clause as long as credit is given to myself, Karen Holton. And I do hope that you will purchase the PDFs that are available from my website shop. They're only $3.99 Canadian, and that little bit of money comes back to help me to support my work and pay for the expenses that are required in order for me to get this information out to everybody. And if you're teaching this information to others, please do ask your clients and your customers to purchase PDF copies for themselves. So today we're going to speak about truth. In order to speak your truth, you must find your truth. Your truth is that which you have come to believe once you have stepped outside of the socio-economic political construct or your socialized programming. Speaking your truth requires a shift in perception and new ways of expressing yourself. One way to step outside of our cultural programming is to consider how we learn on a total perceptual level and get a better understanding of our heuristic patterns. Let me show you the bigger mechanical picture. Heuristics literally means learning, discovering, or problem solving by experimental, trial and error methods, and exploratory problem solving techniques that self-educate and allow us to improve performance and evolve based on the feedback. What is quantum heuristics? In short, heuristics is the whole process of taking in and interpreting data and then learning from it. This is how we plot our course through life, and it involves, number one, taking in data on a physical level. So that would be what we see, what we hear, what we touch, what we smell, what we taste. That gives us information. Number two, the data we take in on a socio-emotional level. That's the culturally constructed meaning attached to the data and the emotional sensations produced from our perceptions of it. And that would also include all the symbology that we also encounter in our social reality. And number three, as well as the data we take in on an energetic level, the energy produced from the symbols that form the data. So we're not just using our five senses to take in information, we're also using the culturally constructed meaning that's attached to things like symbols. And then there's also an energy that's produced from the data, and we're also sensing that maybe not on a physical level, but certainly is making an impression on us and is influencing us. We do well to consider our self-learning from at least these three perspectives, which form a holistic or a quantum view. Most of our interpretation of the data, which is what we call reality, comes from patterns of cultural learning that's based on words, which form standardized, mutually built conscious concepts into a verbal pattern in order to share with others the constructed data, or forming what we consider to be the shared reality. So this is the mechanics on how reality is constructed and maintained and shared. We get used to thinking within these patterns, and we learn from our perceived experiences within this shared environment. And I have an image here with a whole bunch of symbols. And each one of these symbols has been used for thousands of years to convey meaning and concepts. And we're very much influenced by them. It is my belief that linguistic relativity and language influence our beliefs, and the use of words affects our perceptions and our patterns of learning. Since all things are connected, we do well to consider our choice of words and the methods of communication that we rely on. And here I want to just throw in a word about the media, but before I do, I just want to check in with my students and see if you have any questions or you need any clarification on what's been presented so far.
No, but if anybody wants to check out on FKN Stephen from BG Cast just did an entire episode on the symbolic lens and breaking down symbolism and language.
Wonderful. Yes, BG Cast is going to be my guest coming up on the Quantum Guide show. He's got a wealth of information. As I've mentioned before, none of this information is unique. It's all been spread around out there by other people. But once you see it within this program, it's all kind of contained in a nutshell. Then when you see it other places, you're going to go, aha, exactly. And know more about what I'm saying, because I could go on for hours about each one of these subjects. So I'm really glad other people are producing videos about it. And Dawn, if you want to send me the link to that show, I will put it in the description below so people can find it. That's excellent. Thank you.
It was a great breakdown, like and it's great for newbies, like people just starting on the journey.
Yeah.
Like I want to file that in my links, for people asking questions.
Yeah.
I also wanted to address something that came up while you were talking in regards to like when the definition of heuristics. That's basically how I was raised. Like I was raised to look for feedback because and then I was raised as a people pleaser. And
Yes.
so it was actually weaponized, and I think this is probably going to ring true for a lot of people. This is just something that I've pieced together. So like this is my personal journey, but I think there's going to be a lot of me too's here. All I wanted to do was please. I just wanted to love. I wanted to make people happy. I didn't want to be an inconvenience. And I wanted the feedback, and I took what I thought was feedback to heart, but it was actually criticism.
Yep.
And it's part of the way that they broke me down and contributed to the programming. So I just wanted to um just to bring it to the attention to anybody who's experienced it. I am only learning the difference between feedback and criticism,
Yep.
because I took everything as criticism. I took it as an attack because that's what my early life was.
Yep. And that is how the matrix is perpetuated. So everybody's policing each other and discouraging people from stepping outside of the matrix or outside of the box. And let's face it, sometimes it's not safe to be anything other than a people pleaser. There's 4 states of a trauma. When we're being traumatized or when we're feeling threatened, some have fight or flight, and everyone's familiar with that. But there's 2 other states. One is freeze, and the other one is fawning. Freeze is you just can't function, you can't move. And fawning means we want to please that person. So we'll agree with what they're saying just to take the pressure off or to keep ourselves safe. So I think that's a really important part that you just brought up, Sven, very important. And so we're going to get into that a little bit more too. I wanted to say a word about the media. Since mainstream media is not a reliable source of factual data, its purpose must be sensationalism and a useful propaganda delivery system. Mainstream televised, print, and audio media favors words that either stir up excessive emotion or minimize emotional response altogether. And by doing so, this communication system discourages the use of empathy and compassion, which are skills essential for personal and global health. When television was first introduced to the public, it was used as a marketing device. The shows attracted the audience for the commercial sale of products, and an example I'll give you is soap operas. With a few exceptions, everything broadcasted on TV and the radio is there to sell you products, concepts, and ideologies. So it used to be, I don't know if any of you were around when they had soap operas. Now almost everything is soap operas, but the soap operas sold soap. And so they had this very dramatic, compelling show where it would go on week to week and you'd be left hanging and you'd have to tune in the following week to find out what happens to little Betty Sue and all this stuff, right? And it was to sell you soap. Well, nowadays it's to sell us all kinds of things. So it's not just the commercials. So the shows bring you to the channel, but you're really there to see the commercials, and it's all paid for by the commercials, by the different supporters of the channel. And also the shows themselves are indoctrinating us and filling us with ideas and concepts. You can really see a change in Netflix. Like, I understand why they're doing what they're doing. They're trying to make it more inclusive, and I'm all for that. But they're also pushing new stereotypes that may or may not be a reality or even in our lives. So I just wanted to remind people, and especially like I used to let my kids watch Sesame Street quite a lot and shows like that. But a lot of people are using the television or screens as babysitters for their children. And I just want to caution about that because they may be indoctrinating their children in ways that they don't want them to be indoctrinated. Ray, go ahead.
For about 12 years, that was half of my life because when I was with my mom, I was doing stuff, but like just like going out or whatever. And then when I was with my father, video games.
Yeah.
Like, well, he was just doing a bunch of other stuff. Like, so I know that one.
Yeah. And I think the poison is in the dose. It's how much, how often, not that the thing itself is wrong, you know?
Right. No, like and like this is my biological father we're talking about, not Don.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like he'd have me up, I would be up until like between like 1 and 3 in the morning, and like just playing video games, and it worked because it also got me away from him.
Oh,
And
yeah, there's that too.
yeah,
Yep.
so that got me hooked on them, and then I'd have to go back to I'd go back to mom, and I'd just be a complete like piece of crap for like the next 2 3 days because I was tired and irritable and zombified.
Yep. Yep. It can easily become an addiction. It can easily become an escape for sure. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
And
So
I
just to
do just,
keep,
I want to give
sorry,
him
go
a
ahead.
side. Look at the fact that your father was generally out fixing a car and could have taught you something.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's sad. It's sad, but true. And this is not unique. This is happening all over the world for sure.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Sorry.
getting back to words being symbols, it is important to remember that words carry their own energy and the energy from years of use by many people. This is why the word love has a similar effect on water crystals, whether it is written or spoken in English, Japanese, Italian, or Mandarin. And for more research on that, you can look into Dr. Emoto and how he put words on water glasses and water containers and how the words affected the structure of the crystals when they were viewed later under a microscope. When we use a word which has a similar meaning in any language, it also has a measurable effect on the energetic frequency of our bodies, which can be measured using biofeedback, biokinesiology, EEG scans, etc., and other technologies. And here I've got some Asian symbols. I'm not sure if it's Cantonese or Mandarin. I think it might be Mandarin. And each of these symbols means something, corresponds to a word or a phrase. What's interesting now with the new AI, what they're doing is they're able to translate not through a direct translation, like from this symbol meaning this word in another language, but they're finding that the energy from each word is the same regardless of the language it's spoken in. It's very interesting. So, my point is that words form concepts or ideas, Ideas shape ideologies and beliefs. Beliefs determine our view of the world and our point of view or our perspective. Perspective influences the feedback essential for us to form our truth, which is self-guided learning. And self-guided learning is the process of heuristics. So just wondered if you have anything else you want to add before we get into how this affects the law of attraction.
I'm okay.
Okay. The law of attraction, the energy carried by the thoughts, words, and sounds associated with verbal communication and idea conceptualization fuel the law of attraction, which involves elements of both energy and consciousness. Remember, everything is energy. Matter is made up of atoms, which are made up of electrons, neutrons, protons, which are made up of quarks, leptons, gauge bosons, and Higgs boson particles, which are also known as scalar waves. But when we break everything down to its smaller components, everything has wave-particle duality called wavicles and is expressed in both mass and energy. So for those of you who have a copy of the PDF primer, you'll notice there's links to all the research and sources of this information that I have provided. Living beings produce energy, which can be seen with Kirlian photography and by measuring the strength of the toroidal field, which is produced by our hearts. And again, you can go back and review step 8 and step 5 for more details about this. Many experiments show us that we are transceivers. We transmit and receive energetic information. Recently, scientists have discovered that spiritual consciousness, which is also known as biophotonic energy, travels faster than the speed of light with an unimaginably high frequency and short wavelength, which is not the same as brain waves. So what they didn't measure the brain waves, they actually measured the biophotonic energy. And that's why, like, for instance, when people pray or they have transdimensional experiences, they get a response immediately, even though if you traveled there through the speed of light, it would take you forever to get there and come back. But we produce biophotonic energy. And this is why spiritual consciousness travels outside of time and space. The sacral chakra transmits at the speed of light squared. The crown chakra transmits at the speed of light to the power of 8. So that's the speed of light times the speed of light times the speed of light times the speed of light, and on and on and on 8 times. And to learn more, you can check out my playlist for the Science of Reality on YouTube. So it's on my YouTube channel, and the playlist is called The Science of Reality, and I've collected videos that can tell you the technical aspects of this. And I have an image here of the electromagnetic field, which is produced by the heart. And you can go to the Heart Math Institute if you want more information about that. And then on the right, I have an image of someone who's meditating, and their image was taken with Kirlian photography to show the biophotonic energy that leaks from each and every one of us. Think of common written and spoken words as symbols, which carry little packets of consciousness. We have been taught to think in terms of words constrained by time and space, and that is what creates our 3D experience. But when we use uncommon or sacred written and spoken words, we are transmitting the energy faster than time and space. This is why prayer and authentic desire, which is often visualization without words, are so effective at bringing results. When we are fully present in the now, we transmit with and without words. Spiritual consciousness transmits our desires outside of time and space, and we operate on a whole new level. This is why meditation is so beneficial. While fully present and by living consciously, we operate within the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth dimensions, and possibly even more. By living consciously, we listen to our speech and we notice where adjustments are needed, and self-correct our course. This is one of the many advantages of finding the observer within. When we shift, our perspective shifts along with our learning outcomes. Think of the process like playing a video game, except with real-life 3D consequences. At the same time, the brain learns very quickly, and since it is wellness-oriented, we become aware of different options which were there all along, but we were programmed not to notice them. Your subconscious mind will start to set things up on a physical level to make the energy manifest. It is a team effort. Me, myself, and I, as discovered in Step 6, Part 3. This is why living in the now brings about or manifests our desires like magic. More on manifesting and techniques to stack the energy in Step 3. So I'll give you an example. When I started being conscious of the words I was using, I realized how much self-defeating talk I was using without realizing it. And I didn't realize I was constantly putting myself down or putting myself even in a victim perspective by the words I was choosing. And I had to get out of that habit and form new habits on how I wanted to say things. And I also changed the words on the things that I was seeing around me. Like, for instance, I did not see a health industry. I saw a disease management system. I saw a medical industry, and I started changing the words so that I wasn't participating and perpetuating that misconception. And the same thing goes with there is no justice system. It's called a justice system, but what it really is a legal system. And in those ways, we start to be more conscious of the words we're using. And as we start to change the words, which is speaking our truth, then our learning outcomes or our heuristic patterns change. That all feeds the law of attraction. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Everybody thrives when we have a mission, and there is no greater mission than to become the change we wish to see in the world. Sometimes, though, we need a little help from consultation and support services. Have you discovered that this world is not what you thought it was? Have recent global events awakened you and leave you feeling unsettled? Do you feel isolated by your new, not so popular beliefs? It is a big shock to wake up and find that the old familiar world is gone. It can be disturbing to go down the various rabbit holes, only to find that the information is difficult to digest, and few people are willing to talk openly about it. Would you like to learn how to thrive in this new state of awareness? You are not a conspiracy theorist. You are awakening, and once you find your way through it, there are many blessings waiting on the other side. My name is Karen Holton, and I offer vital services that may be just what you need, and support for your journey into the weird and wonderful. Check out my awakening support and ascension consultation services, created to support individuals with their chosen alternative realities and lifestyles, health and recovery, and their spiritual adventures. For more details, check out the various vital services found on my website, and be assured that I have found personal success with every category featured. My website is www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. That's KarenHolton HealthCoach.com.
Okay, I just wanted to simplify but not oversimplify. So basically what I've been learning and what you just said is we exist in a duality because we have an existence as an energetic being and as a biological vessel, right? And our existence, our reality as it stands as a human being in the third density is as a collaboration of those two things.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
that I've been doing some research. There was a couple of things in regards to the law of attraction. First of all, I feel like there might be it might be worth just giving a warning to use discernment, because there are books out there and people that talk about the law of attraction, and they do provide good information, but a lot of it seems to be focused on materialism.
Yes, yes.
I just wanted to throw that caution out there, because that can sometimes get your focus in the wrong place for the wrong reasons. Like, just be careful with that.
I
Um
agree. I agree. And sometimes you get what you wanted and it doesn't look or feel what you thought it would, you
yes.
know? Yeah.
Yes. The the other thing that that I also discovered, and this relates to the language that we use, is that it is said that the universe is inclusive. So that's one of the things that I've been working on to to be more inclusive, because it basically focuses on the words. It doesn't really necessarily focus on the context of things.
Right, right.
Um, just, like I see, like I'm wondering, like, I do not consent. That is powerful, but like, there's the possibility that it's picking up on the consent part, where
Yes.
I would think I reject is more powerful, because it's one word that cannot be twisted or misconstrued.
I agree. One of the few good things I learned from my former husband, not to put him down too much because I'm sure I was at fault too, but one thing he taught me was when somebody says something to me, if it feels wrong, to say I reject that suggestion. Even when I get a thought in my mind, if I'm out walking in the snow and it's really slippery and I'm afraid I'm going to fall, I say, I reject that suggestion. When we're watching TV and commercials come on that are trying to press political perspectives or products or ideologies that we don't agree with, I'll say it out loud. I reject that suggestion. It's so powerful. So I'm really glad you brought that up. So now I want to get into some examples of heuristics in motion. So we've talked about the mechanics of how heuristics work, but it's easier to see how it works when we look at some real life examples. So let's go to common things that happen in our reality. And one of them is gossiping and spreading rumors. That is really, really, oh, it happens so much. And it really puts me off of social interactions with people. I can meet people and they seem so lovely. And the next thing you know, they're just ripping apart somebody that I don't know or that I don't know well. And gossiping and spreading rumors sends out, adds to, and intensifies energy, which always has an effect on the target and the sender. So when we're ripping apart somebody behind their back, or we're spreading rumors that we don't know for sure if it's true or not, but it's juicy and we just can't wait to share it all around the social reality, that's not only affecting the person we're talking about, but it's affecting us as the senders as well. This is really well known in the pagan concepts or in Wicca, where they believe that everything you send out comes back threefold. Some believe it comes back sevenfold. So currently, and many years ago, people of all nations used words along with amplifiers like crystals and herbs to send energy to targets. So you've heard of love spells, and there's spells that people do for material gain. And all, of course, the whole Illuminati thing is all based on spell casting. So we're familiar with that. But a lot of people haven't thought of it on a quantum level and how that actually affects us. So, depending on the intention of the sender, the outcome can be negative or positive. If the intention of the sender is negative, it's called gossip, rumor spreading, or even dark spell casting. So a lot of people don't consider that when they're participating in those activities, they're participating in dark spell casting. So it doesn't matter what church they go to, they're still participating in black magic. If the intention of the sender is positive, then it's called shamanism, Reiki, or sending or intending blessings, well wishes, and love. So you can see the profound difference. And it's really the intention that provides the spin on what's being sent out energetically. So words and symbols form concepts of harm or health, which when directed at others provide outcomes, cause and effect, which provide learning and a strengthening of belief systems. And hopefully self-education and improved performance is the end result. Now, I'm not perfect. I've participated in gossip and spreading rumors in the past, not so much now. I've changed my behaviors quite a bit. But when I used to do that, I used to feel absolutely sick inside. Whereas when the opposite was true, and I spent time with people where we talked about the things we loved about other people, and we sent them prayers and well wishes. And Reiki, you don't have to be present. Just even thinking, wanting to send healing to somebody who needs help on Facebook, that's all sending and intending blessings, well wishes, and love. And hopefully they all end up with self-education. So we can tell by the way we feel afterwards, but it also, we can see that the person who perhaps we've been spreading rumors about, they might not be doing so good, might fit right in with our stereotype that we're giving them. But really, we're actually adding to the problem. Do you folks have anything you wanted to add about that?
The whole intention and quantum entanglement spin was just broke down. She had an incident. She was following somebody home the other day and realized that their brake light was out, and she's like, "Do I follow him? Do I do?" La la la. And she was having this conversation with me and in her own head, like, and then he turned a different way, so it was an inconvenience, and she didn't. But the intention of helping this man before he got a ticket was there. Well, then
Yeah.
our friend, you know as well, Maya, one of her friends appeared in a parking lot in a similar time frame and told her that her front headlight was out and not to get a ticket.
Interesting.
So that intent that, like, somebody helped this person about to get a ticket for a light, it just kind of reverberated, it seemed like.
Yep. Yep. Good example.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there's been time. There was another time that I was driving into work, and it was still dark out, and I noticed this truck was pulling. He was just pulling out, like I could tell he just started, and he didn't have his lights on. And I just sent it out there. I'm like, oh, come on, buddy, turn your lights on before you get hurt, or somebody gets hurt, or you get caught, or whatever. Boom, his lights come on.
Yep. Yep. Very interesting how it works. So another good example is something in sociology, which is called cultural capital. People of elevated status or with old money wealth, and also con artists, follow certain traditions of speech, which is words and pronunciations, which produce specific concept belief systems of privilege and entitlement. These, along with other factors like appearance and display of prestige items, form a calling card or identifying marker which gains them access to experiences that the majority of us do not get the opportunity to participate in. This phenomena also has a similar energetic effect. So if you want to look at, what they call the elites, I call them the parasite class, but, the richest of the rich, they act in ways that signal to each other that they're above the rest of us, not to mention their attitudes and the words they use and the way they pronounce things, like using the Queen's English. And it gives them a feeling of privilege and entitlement. And also, con artists will do the same thing. They'll copy the speech patterns, the way the rich people dress, all kinds of things to infiltrate and then try to take advantage of those people. And what's interesting is there have been people who have won millions of dollars in the lottery or gained money in other ways. And when they try to fit in with other people of their same newfound socioeconomic level, they find that they're rejected. Why? Because they don't have all those subtle cues that tell other rich people that you're part of the same group or the same club. And if you don't know those things or were never taught those things, you'll never be accepted. Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that we go out and learn those things, not at all. I think the whole system needs to change. But again, words and symbols form concepts of entitlement, which are directed at others and provide outcomes, which is cause and effect, which provide learning and a strengthening of belief systems. Self-education and improved performance is the end result. And this is partly why those in the top, they say 1%, but I think it's less than that. 1% is 1 out of every 100. I would say this is like one in every maybe 500 million. That's how they keep their power concentrated at the top. So I'm not suggesting we do this. I'm just giving this as another example on how heuristics basically works to fuel different kinds of lifestyles. So I'll just wait for Ray to come back before I get into the final part of this. Do you folks have anything you want to add to that? There he is. Okay, so my final example is the classic rags to riches story, more currently known as the I was sad but found out what makes me happy story. And I think a lot of people can relate to it on this level. So to write your own version of this story, simply pick a new, uncharted, but well thought out point on your nubby ball and watch for the resulting changes in perception to unfold in time. Excuse me. You want to watch for those just noticeable differences. So what I did for some of the major changes and improvements I needed in my life is I took just an ordinary notebook and I wrote the story of where I wanted to be as though it had already happened. And I found it very, very powerful. So at first you need to keep bringing yourself back to the new route. You need new thought patterns, new vocabulary, and new beliefs. So whatever it is you want in your life, and you find out what makes you sad and you don't want to do that anymore, and now you figure out what's going to make you happy. And for some people, it might be an increased income. It might be a better location where they're living. It might be a number of different things, even improved relationships with other people. So you want to decide what it is you want and be fairly focused on that. And then once you've made up your mind that's what you want, you just start to notice those just noticeable differences, little tiny hints and clues that appear in your reality that confirm that you're actually headed in the right direction. And as I mentioned before, you need to keep changing your thought patterns. So instead of saying, oh, I hate where I live, we need to start thinking, oh, how exciting and how peaceful it's going to be in my new home. I can't wait to get there. I'm just loving my new home. Like it's a whole different shift there. We need to change our vocabulary and we even need to change our beliefs. Like for me, it took a while for me to realize that I was worthy of having a better socioeconomic situation. But soon you'll be able to see the patterns and experiences and plot the future by fine-tuning your desires. And that includes your thought patterns and your beliefs and your actions, which comes forth in vocabulary and the choices you make. Now you are directing and controlling your own virtual reality. You choose different words and symbols to form concepts of your new experience. which are directed at your outside world, which provides outcomes, which is your cause and effect, which provide learning and a strengthening of your belief system. Self-education and improved performance is the end result, and soon your goals are met. And that is quite literally how magic works. Soon you will find yourself in a flexible groove or perspective, and you can reflect on your truth and see how it evolves from your fresh experiences. You may wish to trade in beliefs for working theories at this point, which will evolve as you discover new information. So the difference between a belief and a working theory is a working theory is more flexible. It's easier to adjust when new information comes in, whereas a belief tends to be rigid and is very difficult to shift.
Karen,
Did you have some?
I want to thank you for that term, like for bringing it into my life, because it has already helped me reconnect with a friend of mine. I haven't talked to her lately, but like and we're all on good terms and stuff, but I can start to see where I'm at a point on my journey where I'm running into things that she may not agree with.
Right.
And right now, I may not agree with them either. I'm still finding things out.
Yeah.
And so the term working theory, like it helped me put into a perspective, like where I am. So it's like, okay, so this is what I've found. This is what I'm looking into right now. I may or may not be right. It's a
Mhm.
working theory, and you may or may not agree with it. And I just find that it's an easier way. It just opens up the doors to communication even more if you're
Yeah.
not rigid in the belief.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And once you get to know your truths, you can throw some out and you can look for some new ones and share them with others, giving voice to the global shift each one of us contributes to. Now, everything changes as you become the change you wish to see in the world. So, as we're putting information out there, we're affecting the social reality, we're affecting everything. It's all energy. And everything else is now being weighted more in that direction, and we're contributing to the positive shift. In my experience, this process is true for attaining health, wisdom, and wealth, usually found in that order. Find your truth and express it however you wish. Words are only one form of communication. Once you recognize your own patterns, feel free to experiment and choose new patterns until you find ones that resonate with your desires. Along with an evolution in thinking comes a shift in perception and new ways of looking at things. You discover options that were there all along, and your mind forms new neural pathways as you learn, which facilitates a refining process that leads to happiness and the attaining of your desires. Now you can experience the power of heuristics and speak your truth with amazing outcomes. Next, please watch Quantum Health Transformation Step 4. Understand the power of heuristics, know your truth, and speak your truth. A video workshop. So that's a little bit more. I've used the Nubby Ball as a tool to share the context of what I'm saying regarding heuristics and speaking your truth. Some of Step 4 requires abstract thinking. If this lesson is a stretch for you, use a real ball or a picture of a sphere to help you to get started and review the Step 9 video for technique. By the way, the Nubby Ball tool is also known as quantum field holography. What we perceive as finite space and time are actually very flexible, giving way to the good possibility that we're living in a holographic construct. And once you learn to maneuver within it, you'll be surprised how fast your desired changes appear and become reality. And here's the link for Step 4 for those of you who have the primer. And do you folks have anything you want to add to today's lesson?
I do, and it's actually kind of an interesting ask of the audience, actually. because we're all in the current state of mind of being creator beings and using our intentions. I have a very dear friend in Ontario, Canada, that requires a double lung transplant. And if everybody could send him some goodwill.
Sure. Do you want to give his first name?
His name's Lee.
Lee. Okay. I can definitely do that. And never underestimate the power of our good intentions. When we see people on Facebook or we hear of other people that are having trouble, we can just take a moment, close our eyes, and send love and healing energy and peace to those people. And believe it or not, it has a huge effect. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're feeling so bad about your friend, Dawn, and I appreciate why. And I hope you're feeling better too, because this is when you care about other people, it really does affect you. It really does. So maybe we could send some love and healing to you as well and your family. Must be very, very hard to go through at this time. So this concludes the Quantum Health Transformation version 3.0 Advanced Training for Healers and Alternative Health Practitioners, Step 4 Blue. Understand the power of heuristics, know your truth, and speak your truth. Please feel free to contact me for more information and for assistance with your awakening process. I am grateful for all the forces that assist me with the production of this free 9-step online course. And as I mentioned, and after you've done the video tutorial, please join me for the next step in this online course called Step 3 Indigo. Understand and use perception within the construct to manifest change. So you're really going to learn a lot about how to supercharge the law of attraction in the next lesson. And again, you may want to purchase the PDF copy of this primer. It's got all the links to all my free resources. And that's about it for the lesson for today.
Sorry about that.
I'm just wondering if I should pause for a minute and give Dawn a chance.
No, I'm okay.
You're okay? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't mean to continue on while you were feeling badly, but I thought it might be better to move on.
I thought I could get there, but it triggered me.
Yeah, I could tell. And you know what? That just shows what a loving, caring person you are. And there's nothing to be ashamed of or to feel bad about, because we need more people like you in this world. It's really, really important.
Thank you.
So I guess unless you folks have more you want to add to it, I'm wondering if you want to talk a bit about what you're up to, where people can find you, about your shows. Spinja, you've just been going like crazy lately, working long hours and 5 or 6 days a week and producing all these new shows, wonderful content. And thank you for supporting my work as well. I really appreciate it.
Well, I feel honored, like that. I've got a little bit of a following, and I appreciate everybody. And there's been some people that have left some suggestions for different segments that I can do that they're curious about, and I always welcome that, because I do like the latest was I was interacting with somebody on Facebook in regards to cross stitch. And so I'm really excited, because these are things that I know, and if I can help introduce people or bring it back, that's the whole point of this. It's been amazing. There was also another conversation. I was posting progress pictures. Like we started our garden inside, and so I've been posting, and there was a conversation on Facebook with somebody who was telling me about how he's growing peppers and things, and so this is what I want. I want to get the conversation going about what we can do. Like there's so many barriers, you know, like that we perceive and that's thrown in our face. And it's like, no, we have a lot more power. And even if it's just growing an herb garden in your apartment window, something. So you can find me on YouTube. That's where I post my videos. Rumble is coming. I just haven't got there yet. It's not exactly the most user friendly for uploading, as you know. I'm on Instagram at Canadian Spinja, and then I am on Facebook at Canadian.Spinja. I have been getting a lot of private messages just saying hi, which I do appreciate. But with my schedule and everything, I don't really have time for small talk. I am absolutely happy to help people, you know, find resources and links and stuff like that. But the hi, how is your day? I appreciate it and I send you love, but I just don't have the time right now for those little things. So.
And it might be better served if they were to leave those comments in the comments section below the videos and below your posts, so that at least helps you out instead of just, oh, hi, what are you doing? I just don't have time for that either. And it's no disrespect to the people. Plus, we don't know who's bots and who's not, you know? And, you know, I would much rather if they commented underneath the videos and said what they're up to and how exciting their life is, instead of just trying to, you know, kind of make friends. But, you know, I don't know, when you're busy people, your time is at a premium, and people have to understand that too, right?
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. And Dawn, what do you got going on? You've been pretty busy too. Tell us about the difference between your round table show and your after dark show, because that's a new addition to your channel.
There's that and a third one coming. It's going to be that FKN review show. I just shot the pilot for that with Chris yesterday. I just got to put it all together. But the difference between the round table show and the after dark show is the after dark show is I think, going to predominantly focus on the programs that a lot of us in this community suspect either are being used or we've been a part of or suspect a family member of. They're the things that are black bag things. And, you know, what do you do after you've realized you're in a dark program? You want to talk about it. Well, this is a program that we're going to do that in. So it's kind of a play on the words after dark, and it's going to be about the dark programs.
Can you give us an example of what would be a dark program?
Well, for the one episode, I had Renetta Jones and a man that goes by the scream name of Big Ace, and he has told an amazing story about how he was like a Manchurian candidate. He had control systems in his mind, and the U.S. government refused to give him a CAT scan for fear of proving that he actually had implants. Right, so they eventually expunged. Like, he had a multitude of robberies that he said he doesn't remember committing, and the voices that told him to do it were not his own. And he believes that he was a Manchurian candidate, and him and I went into a deep dive on that. So those type of programs like MK Ultra, Project Stargate, Project Dreammaker, the Manchurian Candidate, the Super Soldier programs, all of these things are something I want to explore because they get touched on, but they never really get talked about. So I really deep dive it.
Very interesting. I didn't quite realize what after dark. I thought it was after dark, meaning you could talk about things you can't talk about while the kids are up. But in a way, that's true too. So then your round table show, you interview guests, but you also critique or talk about one of the episodes from the typical skeptic podcast.
Yeah, Rob Kellell is like the podcast guy. Like, as far as independent goes, you know, I have to give love to FKN for the network status, but as an independent podcaster, nobody puts the nose to the grindstone like Rob Kellell, and he puts out so much premium content that people that have to, like Spinja, can only catch a podcast a day. You can't catch three, and you miss the good ones, or you have to go back, right? That's the whole reason I keep trying to do these review shows like I am with FKN as well, is like there's so much premium content that people that are waking up aren't getting because it's just everywhere.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. It's so true.
I'm at a stage of my being right now that it allows me to sit and kind of go over podcasts, and it's like, wow, people should know this, or that might be good to catch in your spare time. But if I can help people think about and get to a podcast that's going to trigger thought faster, that's made it worthwhile.
Yep. And so FKN, for those of you who don't know, that's Forbidden Knowledge News. That's Chris Matthew, and he has a network. My show, the Quantum Guide Show, and this, the Quantum Health Transformation, are all part of his network as well. So just for those of you who aren't familiar with the term, and so that's going to be a review show very similar to your show that supports the Typical Skeptic podcasts. And then, are you still doing your Friday night shows with Maya, a Mad Chatter show?
We still have the Mad Chatter show that airs on 97.7 in Brattleboro, Vermont. And that's a radio show and a podcast where we have guests from the spiritual community, the paranormal community. We've had UFO researchers from MUFON. We've had yourself. Like just a multitude of anything that's in this community. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about that show is there's no judgment. You know, it's not secret space radio, or it's not ghost radio, or it's everything. And that's where we all need to be, is understanding everything about everybody, because that's how we figure this all out.
Wonderful. And that can all be found on your channel, which is March 4th Productions, and it's with the number 4, TH.
Yeah. Yes. And that's on Rumble and YouTube. I got to catch up on Rumble.
Yeah, me too. Me too. We're all in that club for sure. Rumble is, for some reason, when I signed up for Rumble, it was supposed to just back up everything off of YouTube the way Odyssey does. But I'm finding it's way behind. Something's wrong. I don't know how to fix it. So yeah, I hear you on that one. So, with that, do you have any last words before we say goodbye to the audience?
Just thank you for watching, and check everybody out and like and subscribe.
Yep, absolutely. Yes. So I want to say thank you to the three of you for joining me, but also thank you to the listeners and the viewers. I appreciate you very much. I hope you have the best week ever. I love you so much. And be sure to tune in Wednesday evening for the Quantum Guide Show. And that being said, I guess that's it. Until next time, let's say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Lying only makes you hurt. Denying only makes it worse. Love and surrender seem the fastest way to bring an end to bitter, painful days. Somewhere down the stars are falling like jewels upon a thin black veil, and you will thrill to hear your calling. 5 seconds seems like 5 billion years, 10,000 galaxies away, yet still so near.